important the draft is for all of these teams from different regions. So the drafting phase for game number 1 shall now officially commence between 4MERICAL Esports and NIIGHTMARE Esports. Got the first couple of bans coming out already. Is this normal, Lafel?
I would say this is normal. NIIGHTMARE is really looking forward to closing this game out cleanly. They're respecting Yahiko's Fanny, making sure that that's off the table for now. And 4MERICAL respecting with the Nolan pick as well. This does kind of show that the teams want to play more for the mid game rather than for play for the mid and looking for more utility junglers. So the average time for the games here in the wildcard is 18-minute plus. Wow. I think we're going to be more or less on the same page here.
It has been quite back and forth. There have been like super long slogs, and then there have been really one-sided massacres as well, showing that there's a pretty big difference in terms of playstyle as well as experience. And yet all of these teams have really demonstrated that they are worthy of an international stage. With the Turisla and the Wanwan banned out right now, Nicely, what are your current thoughts?
Well, one thing is, as we get through the first phase, so far what I've loved about the wild card is that most of the drafts, most of the strategies shown have been pretty wild themselves, right? That's the standout for me so far. Now, that's what I'm wondering is, if you're put in the situation, especially if you're NIIGHTMARE Esports, you know what's at stake here. Do you still kind of go along those lines? Like, we know even Tigreal has popped up how many times now? He hasn't done too great statistically, right?
Sadly.
But it's nice to see some of those picks come out. And it makes me wonder, like, what does NIIHTMARE Esports want to prioritize, considering once we get through this last ban after this, then we'll see what their priority wants to be. But so far, I feel like that's even been up in the air. We've seen the Joy pop up. Yeah. We've seen some of these other options. But, you know, what does NIIHTMARE Esports want to do?
Personally, for me, I think the best strategy when they're in this situation is to have a lot of pressure. So I was actually anticipating for them to pick up the Bruno. But the Bruno has been a very strong second pick here in this competition, as well as MPLI. So the fact that they're banning out the Bruno, it does seem that they want something else for the gold lane. And perhaps they want to prioritize something like a Joy, the one that can really put more pressure in the early to mid stage of the game. Because, I don't know, I kind of feel like if they pick up the Bruno, it would have been better for them.
Yeah, it would have been tricky since, yes, they have first pick.
Ferm is a Joy for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Joy is the obvious choice. And, Lafel, you are correct. Joy going to be dropped in instantly by NIIHTMARE Esports. We know that both their jungle and EXP lane are capable of playing the hero pretty well, so a pretty flexible choice to start things off. As for 4MERICAL right now, what do you think we can expect, Nicely?
Well, again, they have so many different...
Hey, thanks for the shout-out, man. Appreciate it.
Look who it is.
What is this? Oh, he's saying...
I don't know what that says.
He said, Mom, I'm on television.
What is that? Oh, Caster Handsome. I thought that.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
It's understandable. You were distracted by Lafel's face.
Yeah, I was, because But as that distraction was happening, the Guinevere gets locked in. Not what I was expecting, right? I mean, from this first phase from 4MERICAL, but they go with it, and then they pick up the Valentina here. So interesting. If they actually get this to work, we know it's weird because Guinevere has been very popular leading into the wild card, and then all of a sudden, I feel like now it's kind of like 50-50, at least, from what the teams have shown us, at least for the wild card so far. It's worked, and then there's other times where it just has kind of fizzled out completely.
For me personally, Guinevere is definitely an amazing pick after the buff on the spatial migration. But the thing is, personally for me, it is based on the draft. Because if you're able to capitalize on the level 2 strength of the Guinevere, then the draft becomes much more terrifying. Because it makes it less effective when you're able to catch someone out, but you don't have enough damage to do anything about it. So I kind of feel like the Guinevere is a good start, but how you finish is going to determine whether it's a good or a bad draft.
Yeah, it's a good point to consider. It's actually something we've seen a good amount here in the wild card, where teams draft compositions that have really strong pick-off heroes like the Guinevere, like the Kaja, the Franco, the Arlet, and yet don't quite have enough damage to follow up. There you have heroes like the Valentina, like the Claude in the side lane, who don't have the burst damage you need to finish someone off in the early few stages. So 4MERICAL does need to focus on that, but now with the Martis and the very popular Faramis out for NIIHTMARE Esports, what do you think the chances of 4MERICAL are looking like?
Well, it could be good. Okay, they pick up the Claude, so now they know what their gold lane is going to be, but talking about chances here, Sadafa, I got to say, based on what we've seen so far, the Valentina in the hands of Xerox here he has to be a little more aggressive, right? Typically when you see these amazing Valentina players, they know how to calculate, like, okay, now's my time to be aggressive. Obviously you have to juggle what kind of ultimate you want to take. Even so, there's already good options, right? Most likely the Netherrealm over here, but we have seen very aggressive Valentina players even opt for the Decimate from Amartys, right? And then turn the tide with that. So if they can make even just these 3 picks overlap really well, it could win them some early skirmishes and team fights.
I would say the Decimate is amazing if you're going for early turtles, because the thing about a Valentina is that you have enough crowd control for a team fight. But the thing is, the damage is not enough. It's a lot, but it's not enough. Yep. The Decimate kind of covers that weakness, so that's why the Valentina is good for the fights around turtle. So now if the Guinevere is going for a jungle route, it's going to be quite good. But the thing is, as I said before, it really favors for a more bursty draft. So the Claude here is not going to be helping out the team much, but at least they have 2 ways to play the Guinevere. Either be aggressive around the river fights and have Valentina there to cover up for the team, or just delay everything, make sure that the Claude has 3 to 4 items, and then they can move in.
I agree with you there. These are probably the ways that 4MERICAL will want to look to approach the game overall. And it is kind of funny that it literally mentioned having the laners like Valentina and Claude would not be enough burst damage, and then the Claude gets locked in. So who knows? But I do wonder, right? I want to ask you a little bit. Typically, you don't pick Faramis into a Valentina because that Netherrealm is so important to play around. Do you think that NIGHTMARE Esports are thinking that they'll prefer to steal the Decimate so they feel safer?
Honestly, looking at the draft coming in from NIGHTMARE, there's a lot of people diving forward, so I kind of feel like it's going to be even difficult for the Guinevere to really choose anyone, because even if the Valentina is able to take away the Netherrealm, it might not even matter. So I kind of feel like the Netherrealm is going to be good, but I don't know. Looking at the draft right now, NIGHTMARE seems to have an easier execution compared to 4MERICAL. I kind of feel like it's more mechanically based. A lot of your ideas, you got to execute it well for it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky position to be in, but now we do see a hero that hasn't gotten a lot of airtime here in the wildcard, the Lapu Lapu. Gonna be locked in for 4MERICAL Esports.
Oh my god, could you not?
Oh my goodness!
Who's that?
Can you guess who that is?
Hey, is there something about today of sharing these pictures? Like, I walked into the talent room earlier and I had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah, that was you 10 years ago. That was me 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago?
Yeah. Well, 11, but still.
So at that time, I was kind of teaching you already.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was a different man. I was Gushin back then.
Yeah.
That's a Gushin skin right there.
It really is.
I was the inspiration for Gushin.
Wow.
Hairstylist, that was me.
I have to go and buy that skin now.
Oh, well.
Because that's a fun fact in itself.
You're welcome, Moonton.
I honestly want to see them add that to the game, but here we see the Harith being locked in by NIGHTMARE Esports, and this...
A lot of dive.
Where is
all dive.
Like, isn't there a bit too much magic damage for NIGHTMARE here?
Hey, finish the game as fast as you can. Like I said, they want to have pressure. If not with the Bruno, then with everything else.
Might as well take a Harith, right?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
We've seen teams do this before. Does it work? Not all the time, but it can work, right? And something that's funny is we say our average game time is about 18 minutes.
Yes.
But there's been games sub 10.
Yeah.
So, you know, this could actually be the setup for that. And now, biggest thing is how do they round it out?
Whoa!
Okay.
Okay, here's the thing. Let me just say before we go into the game, 4MERICAL, all 5 heroes are mechanically, it's a high ceiling, right? Good luck trying to catch anyone from NIGHTMARE because they got a lot of engages as well as dashes. If the Guinevere is able to catch anyone, that'll be impressive.
That is true. It would be a very impressive showing right here from 4MERICAL Esports, but this definitely seems like it's not the usual draft, right? It's them showing something off. This is their last game, their last chance to demonstrate.
I wonder if they're just switching roles, Or I guess we'll have to see till we load in.
I love it. Love it, yeah.
Perhaps Yahiko is just like the secret like assassin jungler weapon. In the daytime, he masquerades as a marksman, but at night, that's when his true strength shows. Let us enter the land of Dawn for game number 1 between NIIGHTMARE Esports and 4MERICAL Esports. Which team shall come out on top?
Okay, this is an amazing game for me to start.
It's so amazing. Incredible, in fact.
Okay.
As you were saying.
Perhaps, you know what? I deserve it. I truly do deserve it. To all the fans at home, my bad.
Welcome back to the desk.
Hey, thanks.
It's honestly impressive, like because like Lafel, this is your first cast on the wild card.
I'm a curse.
They brought you in from the hosting stage. They promoted you to caster. You know?
Yeah.
And the first time the game starts, we have like it's almost as if the game can't handle you.
Let's not be surprised if I become a host again.
I was gonna say, did you hear that correctly? He said promoted to caster.
Yes.
That's what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah, that's what we said yesterday.
Yeah. It's a promotion, ladies and gentlemen. The pay stays the same, but the responsibility is higher.
And the title changes.
Oh yeah.
That's like the
I can do
default
it all.
promotion.
I can do it all.
With great power
Comes the Yuzong skin.
That is true.
Make that the tagline for M5.
We're going to be with a great curse comes.
Yeah, you just say great power, so I got to go with Yuzong. I've been training my Yuzong just so that I can use that skin. I'm a dedicated man. I'm a roam main. But I'm like, nah, fam.
But what if you
give
play
me some of that Yuzong?
Roam, though?
No, don't.
No.
How do you train your Yuzong?
It just shoots it down.
How do I train my Yuzong? With anger. Towards my other EXP laner. Whenever I'm in the game, I have a mindset.
Okay.
This guy took my food.
And
I'm hungry.
Is the food the XP minions?
No,
it's just his food.
The opponent. As an EXP laner, I don't care if I lose. As long as my lane wins.
Okay.
Win rate is just a number.
It is.
Let me just tell you that.
That's true.
Let me just tell you that. But the opposing EXP laner, if he goes 0-10-0, I'm a happy boy.
I think, honestly, that kind of echoes the feeling of every single EXP laner in the world, right? It's not enough that I should succeed, others should fail. But let's jump back into the game here, right where we left off. Looks like the game already ongoing here. Clock going to be on that Roam Guinevere, and Yahiko once again. The Fanny was not his only pocket pick, apparently. Like, what are your thoughts about this, Lafel?
My thoughts is that 4MERICAL has to wait for quite some time. Because Claw needs farm.
That's true.
The Ling needs farm. And in a way, if the Valentina doesn't have a good early game, the Valentina needs farm. So what they need is time. They need a 4MERICAL amount, in fact.
Yeah, this is literally the comp I was talking about, right? When we expressed concern about the pickoff comps having too many late game laners, and now they have Valentina, Ling, and Claude.
Yeah.
So this is literally the issue we talked about from the side of 4MERICAL Esports.
Kind of like, where do you put all the gold? Right now, somebody going to use Tempest of Blades. Yahiko working on Juviana. Should be able to get it one hit away. Will get it. So first blood going to the hands of Yahiko on this Ling, a hero that we don't see much more of anymore.
Excuse me, did we just curse the early game?
No, I don't know.
I think we said that Yahiko didn't have early game damage and he took it personally.
I feel like we're doing NIIGHTMARE a disservice. We're giving a buff towards 4MERICAL, so
we need to talk good about 4MERICAL now.
They're the best.
They're the best team in the world. I have their posters all over my bedroom wall.
But not gonna lie, that was very good because there's two ways to play the Ling. Either farm up or try to gank the side lanes and get that extra farm because now it's looking good for them. Yeah.
Jasmine is waiting here forever. He's gonna find his target right on clock. Right on the dot he goes. They get the kill. Now Turtle for the taking. Xerox there as well. Here comes the rest of the squad. Tempest Blade's gonna come down, working on the Turtle. Too easy for Lexi. Will get the Turtle, and Yahiko falls. So that is also going to result in him losing his buff.
I'm reminded why I don't cast.
It's okay.
I really should be paid not to talk because the moment we say nice things about 4MERICAL, NIIGHTMARE got a 1.3k goal lead. They got the kill, they got the Turtle, They got everything. They're happy.
Just remind
They're
me.
dancing.
Yeah, literally.
Hold on here in the mid lane. Okay, not too much is going to be happening. Just remind me that the next time I want to do anything, I have to bring LaFell along and tell him to do the opposite. And then I will probably have a pretty good chance of success. As of right now, though, a 1.2k net worth lead for NIGHTMARE Esports the first 3 minutes in. This is already the concern we talked about. While Yahiko was able to get a nice first blood, NIGHTMARE Esports are still going to have the stronger early to mid-game scaling.
My personal rule is that if you have a scaling composition, don't lose by 2,000 gold. Because even if you lose, as long as it stays around the 2,000 threshold or below, you're actually winning. Because all you need is time.
Yeah. That's some more simple logic here. Once again, Juviana going to be the focus, has the vengeance. Tempest of Blades as well with Masorab. Can he escape? He does. The bravest fighter, Yahiko, can't get the last hit he was looking for.
Oh, the
Xerox. Can he find him?
Can he go there? He's going to go under the turret. Nope, not going to commit to it, so he backs off. Juviana, impressive to survive that.
He's just teasing 4MERICAL Esports at this point. They invested so many resources to try and pick off the joint, and they still weren't able to do so. But I think considering everything, the fact that they didn't lose anyone from over-diving there is still a plus point. As of now, though, NIGHTMARE Esports is slowly increasing that lead beyond that 2k threshold you mentioned, LaFell.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about it anymore because the turtle is going to come up soon. And,
Juviana again. He should be fine. So here, though, too easy for Lexi. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to commit on this. Xerox holding on to that Nether Realm, but all this leading into that next turtle.
Yeah, this next turtle is going to be a snowballing situation. If NIGHTMARE Esports is able to catch 4MERICAL off guard, they can get a lot of kills here.
Let's see if they can do it. Jasmine going to find a couple targets here. Too easy for Lexi. Still going to be working on that turtle. They got to get in range here. Waiting patiently on the bottom side, but they're going to force him back. Too easy for Lexi. Will get the turtle again. And now Masorab on the run. Going to be dragged here a little bit further. There's the decimate from Too Easy for Lexi. Still going to be hungry for more, but won't be able to find Clock.
A good start by NIGHTMARE Esports, and while it seemed like 4MERICAL Esports had been able to respond fairly well, right now they just don't have enough zoning tools. Too many late game heroes, and only having the Guinevere as a frontliner is not going to be able to defend you from the insane dive that Juviana, Lexi, and Jasmine have at their disposal. So things not looking good for 4MERICAL in these first few minutes. Even Jasmine continuing to invade the jungle.
My personal opinion is that 4MERICAL should not have fought for that because based on the deficit, they will not be winning that turtle fight. Because even if you win, I would say it's you being lucky. So instead of taking like a 50-50 chance, might as well just avoid the turtle altogether, especially if you see NIGHTMARE Esports grouping up there. Try to find farm somewhere else. Try to invade the NIGHTMARE Esports jungle. Get as much objective or farm there. That's a better way to play the macro game because they need the farm. They don't need the turtle.
Yeah, I may have to agree with you here. Considering how much mobility 4MERICAL have as well with Lunatic Panda and Yahiko, that should be the play, but here they go again.
Oh, Cammy, once again, using that Zalman force. Tempest Blade's going to come down. Soul joining the fight. Going to push them back, though. So still, even given all that, they still can't grab the kill they're looking for top side.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to force things out that doesn't have to be forced out because, like I said, it's not going to be easy for Clock to catch anyone off guard because there's so many ways for them to run away. And as I say that, okay, Cammy still survives.
Yep, and now, okay, they get the flicker out from Clock. Lunatic Panda is here. Jasmine waiting in the whims alongside Soul. They're going to jump in, finds the Rage. Going to lock him down, gets the Blazing Duet out. And now Xerox here for the fight. Clock falls under the turret, and no one else able to help out. So they're going to get the turret as well.
I think all things considered, it's not too bad only losing Clock there when it's a full 5-man dive by NIGHTMARE Esports. Xerox was able to arrive just in time to get that Nether Realm to save Lunatic Panda's life. But the timer is definitely ticking down for 4MERICAL Esports at this point. Nearly a 5k net worth lead now for NIGHTMARE. The turtle in their control completely at this stage.
Yeah, nothing here. Again, Yahiko isn't even a part of this fight. He's just going to go ahead and get his buff. And that'll be the clean sweep of turtles for NIGHTMARE Esports.
I would say right now for NIGHTMARE, they really should start adding more pressure or start baiting out 4MERICAL Esports. just you know, hide.
Is Jasmine doing that?
Look at him. Oh yeah.
Well, he's going to jump in right on Masorab, gets the Rage, the lockdowns here. Bravest fighter in, trying to go for Soul, but he will fall again, just left in the whims here.
How does Jasmine even get in that brush without Masarab noticing? Like, he definitely was not expecting the backdoor there from NIIGHTMARE Esports. And right now, the rotations from the blue side of the map are very clean.
Oh! I almost saw you, basically. An anime moment there. Now under the turret. Jasmine could be in trouble here. Still going to be looking for the kill. Xerox there, and now Sosol joining with the NetherRealm, and they disengage. Even in moments like that, 4MERICAL is having a hard time getting a kill.
That was a beautiful dive.
It was. It was
by both of them.
That was an action shot.
That was an action shot.
Yeah.
That should be in a trailer. Perhaps even a spoof trailer.
Well, you heard it, Clippers, everyone.
Oh, yeah,
that is the time to go for it. I'm pretty sure they're going to be eyeing that opportunity every moment they get. But NIIGHTMARE Esports now really upping the ante. They know that they're starting to hit their power spikes. They're starting to get the first and second items, and that is where they're going to be strongest in full-out team fights against 4MERICAL Esports. Oh!
Yeah, they'll be fine. Oh, Jasmine, though, actually still wants to press the situation here. Masterup's going to be the one to jump in. Zaman forced under the turret, forcing 4MERICAL back. Flicker goes in too. They're under the turret again. NetherRealm in response, and they can't do anything with that. They have to back off. Meanwhile, Yahiko spending time in NIIGHTMARE Esports' jungle.
This is what they need to do, avoid the fights. If you're all at mid, we'll go to the side lanes. If you're all at the side lanes, we're going for mid. If you're everywhere, we'll be nowhere. That's the mindset.
That's the mindset.
That's the mindset. If they don't know what we're doing, just don't know what we're doing and we're all good.
That's peak XP lane mindset, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, Xerox!
Xerox still going to be up here. No one falling just yet, but this is Lord for the taking for NIIGHTMARE Esports, even with that, unless, once again, the information can come here for 4MERICAL. Yahiko does have that purple buff. Can he actually steal this away? He's taking quite a bit of damage himself. They force the Tempest of Blades out, and right now he has nowhere to go unless he can pull something amazing off, but he's forced back too much, and NIIGHTMARE Esports plays that so well, keeping 4MERICAL at bay. Juviana wants this kill on clock. He's looking for it, and he grabs it as he backs off here, NIIGHTMARE Esports.
The way that NIIGHTMARE Esports is splitting these fights apart and zoning out 4MERICAL is incredible here. The fact that they were able to delay that Lord to make sure that Yahiko wouldn't be able to get a cheeky steal. Oh. Their timing is great.
Xerox. Oh, the flicker from Jasmine, able to get the kill, and now Lunatic in trouble as well. It happens so quick. And now NIIGHTMARE Esports pressuring down the lanes.
Yeah, and now Yahiko is just pushing, because again, no one is there to defend. And it will be a very good situation if Yahiko can find a way to make sure that he can cut the minions. If he can proxy those minions, then NIIGHTMARE is going to have a hard time pushing.
Yeah, it's pretty clear at this point that NIIGHTMARE Esports really wants to group together. They're sending Juviana to deal with Yahiko, but the mobility of the Ling will definitely outscale that of the Joy. The problem is there's not going to be a lot left of the map for 4MERICAL to play with.
1v1 on the bottom side.
Whoa!
Whoa! Damage! Oh! Big damn from Juviana now on the top side. Still going to be working on it. Clocks the one to fall. Too easy for Lexi going to jump in, but will back off. They get the turret. Lord just a couple hits away, but this is dire for 4MERICAL.
Excuse me, was most of the damage from... What?
That was Juviana's damage.
No, was it the Vengeance?
He popped the Vengeance,
right?
Yeah, so I mean...
It could be just the Vengeance damage, because...
No, I'm pretty sure it was just Juviana. Oh. That's all it takes at this stage.
Oh, Masarap, he will fall into the base. Too easy for Lexi, also taking quite a few hits. Still taking the risk. Jasmine gonna jump in. Tempest of Blades comes through. Cammy will fall. They find a couple kills. Jasmine gonna be the next one. 4MERICAL will find a couple bodies to put on the board.
Ooh, that's a bit of a throw there by NIIGHTMARE Esports. They did not need to dive that deep, and they lost probably their most important members.
Honestly now, even looking at the items, 4MERICAL, they're about to hit a point where they don't have to be afraid of the team fights. They can participate. What they have to do is to bait out a lot of the skills, especially the Zaman Force, because if the Zaman Force isn't there, then the majority of the damage is going to get significantly lower. And at that point, they can just kite, and then Yahiko can just dive in and finish everything off. So 4MERICAL is at a point where they're in a 6K deficit. But it's not that bad because they're not really losing that much in farm when it comes to the carries.
But this is more than that 2K-ish you were talking about earlier, right?
quite a bit more than that.
Quite a bit more. That's times 3. That's 246.
Hey, shut up.
Let's ask a different question. Do you think 4MERICAL is itemizing defensively enough? They only have like 2 Athena shield against a team that's mainly doing magical damage.
Hey, here's the thing. I have a, you know what, if I say it and then I turn out to be wrong, that'd be it.
It's all right.
Here's the
It's
thing.
okay, just say it.
If you're losing anyways, might as well just build more damage because you won't win a fight that you're losing. It's like you're just going to be losing slowly. So you just have to wait for them to make a mistake, but for them to make a mistake and for it to look like a mistake, you need enough damage to punish. So I personally would say, yeah, just build more damage so that when they dive heavily, you can take advantage of it.
You know, everything you just said, that would fit perfectly well in the tip section when you load into the game.
Yeah. If you're losing, might as well just go full damage.
A dash LaFell.
And if you're winning, then you need to build defense because you don't want to make a mistake.
That's true.
That is true.
I'm smart.
Yeah, that's why you're the analyst on desk, yeah?
Sometimes I don't feel like it, though.
It's okay, we all feel it, you know? We give you the analyst energy you need so that you don't have to. But for now, the fight is starting here.
Well, again, the zoning here. Lunatic Panda going to be in trouble. Pretty much taking care of himself with the vengeance there, and now they still go for it. Masaraf taking the brunt of the damage. He will be the next one to fall. It's all chaos everywhere. Meanwhile, too easy for Lexi, having a very easy time with this Lord. Yahiko, he's got nowhere to go. Lord secured for NIIGHTMARE Esports, and the hunt for Yahiko ensues.
Why does he just fight back?
Oh! Well, how do you fight about that?
No,
how do
I
you
mean,
fight?
like, you don't have defense item, but you got a lot of damaging items.
That's true.
Use it, you know?
Yeah, you know, I think
that's the auto attack button. Just press it over and over again.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem in that fight wasn't that NIIGHTMARE Esports just has a 9K gold lead, is that 4MERICAL Esports doesn't have enough damage.
So losing more than 2K is a big deal.
Well, they might not even wait for the Lord to get here. NIIGHTMARE Esports focused on the base. They're going to do everything they can to end it. They're holding on for Miracle. Blazing Duet going to come through. No one falling just yet. Crystal going to be worked on. And that will be game number 1 in the hands of NIIGHTMARE Esports.
Perhaps slightly too greedy of a draft here by 4MERICAL, but a very clean performance here by our representatives from Laos. NIIGHTMARE Esports showing us how it's done, taking full advantage of an early to mid-game composition and ending the game before the late-game scalers can get on a line.
Partially our fault. We asked for them to bring out something new.
They did.
Was that not new?
It was pretty new.
It was pretty new, and I would say it looked good later on.
Yeah.
It had potential. And sometimes that's all you need. Potential to be better than great.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to say though. Hopefully they have a good warranty for that new thing they brought out here. But looking at the situation, 4MERICAL Esports does seem to feel confident enough that they're able to bring like slightly more fun picks they seem more comfortable with into the land of Dawn, but there still does need to be a bit of synergy in the composition, right?
Yeah, there seemed to be, I don't know, when it came to the rotation is the biggest thing that sticks out to me, right? Because, yeah, how was there ways, even in the early game when Jasmine was just where he, there's no way he should be there without the information, right, for the most part. So, again, it just seemed like there was kind of some miscommunication with them on how they wanted to rotate with that. It was great to see them, though, bring this kind of team composition out, and even the swap that they did.
Yeah, it looks like Yahiko has a pretty interesting secret second identity here, but we of course have to hand over our MVP title to the side of NIIGHTMARE Esports. And guys, get you a hype squad like that. Juviana is our MVP of the game. The joy, being able to just dive into the backline with impunity every single time.
I would say the MVP is definitely this vengeance, man, because you don't see it coming. You're just like, I have a lot of damage, and then Juviana is like, yeah, I know. You will feel it. And they definitely felt it. So I guess it's like, yeah, the mindset of building more damage is good until you see that vengeance. Then you're like, oh, I am painful.
Yeah, so it's basically a situation where it's like the negative version of feeling yourself.
Yeah, it's like, do I have enough damage? And it's like, good news, yeah, I do.
But now I'm dead.
Yeah, but now I'm dead.
But now I'm dead.
It's almost like a backhanded compliment. It's like, hey, you got a good damage. Now go to bed.
It's an Uno reverse card.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But Juviana, I think his positioning was great here. Obviously, 4MERICAL didn't really have any heroes that could actually punish it. Like all the usual hard CC heroes, like the Franco, the Kaja, for some reason just led through the draft entirely. So he could just jump into the backline, and we already mentioned the Ling, the Claude, the Valentina all don't really threaten him enough in total. But let's just jump into the highlights here, brought to you by Grab Unlimited, to talk about, once again, what happened during that game.
In this game, in the early stages of the game, it's definitely a mistake when it comes to the prioritization of what we should do. Because when you're at a deficit and your draft is not really built to fight for these neutral objectives, you really should just be looking for something else. In the mid-game, we can definitely see 4MERICAL understanding it's like, okay, don't fight. Let's just go to the side lanes, try to get some kind of farm, try to get some kind of push going. The idea was there. But then it comes to the point where Juviana as the MVP for this game is kind of like shutting down their win conditions, the Claude as well as the Ling. If your win condition is not allowed to deal out damage freely, then that's a big no-no. That's a big oof.
Yeah, it's a big oof situation in total, but the thing is, yes, they were able to finally figure out that, oh, maybe we need to do some split pushing in this game, but when you draft a comp like this, shouldn't you start the game with that mindset? Like, do you think it would have changed if they just did that from the very beginning?
I think the mindset even that LaFell talked about, early on is kind of what you wanted to have for 4MERICAL. But again, when you have this draft, where do you put all the gold? And then it comes into a point where even if we are able to get a good start, then can we transition from where it should be, the Ling popping off, getting these kills, getting the scaling, and then eventually transition to Lunatic Panda, right? To shine on that Claude, but it just never happened, for them.
I would say the Guinevere pick, this is one of the reasons why I said it's a very good pick. It is a very good pick, but it really depends on how you finish off the draft, because if it doesn't really have that synergy, it's not going to be looking pretty good. It's not one of those heroes that it's strong in a vacuum, but even on a broom.
I'm following you, man.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop there.
I'm following you.
Yeah. Okay, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Because Guinevere by herself is good, but as we watch anime, friends are important. If you don't have friends, there's no one to tangle with.
And it also helps if those friends are rich friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have money, you gotta have items, you gotta have damage.
Exactly. You're smart.
The power of friendship, basically.
Exactly.
Also money.
Wakata yo.
All right. Yahiko.
Watashi wa no Rafael desu. 50-minute game, I would say, looking at the items, 4MERICAL was there. They were 100% there. But again, we have to talk about this vengeance. It was the reason why their HP, it looked like it was a magic act. First my HP is here, and then it's gone.
We did talk about
Sayonara.
We did talk about Nightmare having a lot of magic damage. So it is kind of a magic performance happening where they make your health disappear.
Wow.
Amazing.
What I'm wondering though is, in a world where maybe you can say Yahiko was doing the best he could on a Ling given the situation, because we have seen games before, right, where Ling is down, whoever's playing him, but they do that split push, that kind of idea that he had. It's just unfortunate, like you were talking about with the joy and the vengeance and everything.
I'm pretty sure he did not see that coming.
Yeah. But eventually, that could have put enough pressure against NIIGHTMARE Esports to kind of split them up, right? And I think that was the game plan. Again, it snowballed too fast out of control for them. And even when you started to get a little gold, like you mentioned, LaFell, you realize, you're hurting yourself more than you're helping the team.
Yes.
It's not even just the vengeance, right? You see the double blade armor on 2EZ for Lexi and Jasmine, so just completely honing in on that point. You have the Claude, you have the Ling. It not only counters their late game build, it makes them hurt themselves. So NIIGHTMARE Esports were able to really control this game overall. And as we can see, Juviana, there's a reason he's the MVP. He's the rich guy. He is the carry. Masaraf tried to take as much damage as possible for his team, but it still wasn't enough because there's no real front line once NIIGHTMARE Esports dives into their ranks.
I would say 4MERICAL for the next game, really think about the first 3 picks, because there was not a lot of synergy there. And again, just the vengeance was enough to really deal with it. And like you say, even the blade armors as well. So I really feel like, think about the first 3 heroes and how they synergize with each other, rather than trying to get the S tier picks first. Because it really doesn't help your team out when you have amazing picks, but they don't like each other.
Yeah, I would assume that's how real life is. You know?
Exactly.
But